I was in my Hallmark store in 1987, which we had just opened, and all of a sudden, three of my friends ran in and say, "Hey, Al, you got to come look at this. There's guys out there actually ripping out parts of the trolley rail from the reconstruction, and they're actually ripping out pieces and keeping it." It was then that I realized that, and I'd heard stories many times after that, that the trolley and the Dodgers was synonymous with Brooklyn. And actually, both of them left Brooklyn in 1957. And another strange fact was that the Dodgers actually got their name from trolleys. The word Dodger comes from dodging trolleys. That's how that started. So join me on this incredible video on Brooklyn's worst year, 1957. I hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned. First off, I want to talk briefly about the Brooklyn Dodgers and really hope to help you understand, if you're a little bit younger, why the Dodgers were so important to Brooklyn. And it's something that it's kind of escaping these days, but back in the day now, of course, you got to remember, I'm born in 1965. I'm the son of World War II parents. So I have a very long history, and I love history. And having the store in Brooklyn for 30 years, I got a chance to meet up with so many senior citizens, so many people of all ages that told me stories. And now, of course, I have those stories myself, and I love being a storyteller. So why were the Dodgers so vital to Brooklyn? Well, first off, let's talk about the New York Yankees. And the New York Yankees were always like the upper class team. They were always a team that, back in those days, back in the early days of baseball, if you will, most players didn't make the salaries that you made today. The Yankees did. They didn't really have to work beyond working in baseball, but the Brooklyn Dodgers worked in the community. During the off season, the Brooklyn Dodgers sold cars. A lot of them worked construction jobs. They lived, if you think about Jackie Robinson, he lived in Brooklyn. All the other Dodgers pretty much lived in Brooklyn. They were part of the community. So people had a really strong connection to them. And when they left, it was heartbreaking. And so for me personally, what was my connection to the Dodgers other than having two parents that loved the Dodgers and told stories about walking through Prospect Park and going to Evansfield, and they had a band, they had their own thing. On my very block lived a lady named Miss Ricketts, and I was too young to remember her husband, but I used to do shopping for Miss Ricketts, and Miss Ricketts was the wife of Tex Ricketts, who was the public address announcer for the Dodgers. And it was just going to a Dodgers game was kind of like, I guess you can compare it to, in a way, going to like one of your high school games. It was very heartfelt. The people had a very strong connection to the team. So when that team left in 1957, now, of course, we could do a whole video on why the team left. Basically, it was monetary. You had Robert Moses, who wanted to put the team in Queens, which thankfully I'm a big Mets fan. The Mets came in 1962, but Robert Moses didn't want to build a new stadium for O'Malley, and a lot of times Moses gets the blame for that, but in reality, Walter O'Malley, who owned the Dodgers, he was a really shrewd businessman, and he already had a deal out there. Cable TV was going to be a thing in Los Angeles, and they were going to build him a new stadium, which they did. So you really can't blame Moses, even though Moses would never win any popularity contest. I mean, he destroyed Windsor Terrace by putting in the Prospect Expressway. It destroyed Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish, took about half of the residents away. I had stories about that for years and years and years, too, in the Hallmark store, how many people were displaced by Moses, what he did. I mean, I love the car, but Moses just destroyed a lot of things in Brooklyn and the New York area to push the car. And, of course, that was a big controversy, too, because when the trolley went, who pushed the demise of the trolley? It was Firestone, it was Motorola, it was General Motors, it was Mack Trucks, it was all the companies which would benefit from the trolley coming in, and of course the trolley, or rather the bus coming in, and of course buses use more parts than trolleys do. You have to replace the tires and tune-ups and all that, whereas trolleys were very simple. They weren't perfect. They couldn't deviate off the track. There was some accidents because of that. A lot of people would get hit because they had to walk to the middle of the street. But overall, for efficiency, and now people are talking about clean air and things like that, trolleys were electric. But just the same, trolleys were synonymous with Brooklyn as well. And when they left, it was just a terrible thing. So watch this video clip that I found that I wanted to include, and it'll give you a great idea as to how people felt when Dodger Stadium was demolished. Things were never the same.
On February 23rd, 1960, a brass band played Auld Lang Syne, and 200 die-hard fans watched as a 2-ton wrecking ball, painted to resemble a baseball, began to demolish Evansfield in Brooklyn, the home of the Dodgers from 1913 to 1957. Roy Campanella was given an urn filled with dirt from behind home plate, his home for 10 years before a car accident ended his career. For 44 years, since Charles Hercules Ebbets had built his park on a garbage dump called Pigtown, Evansfield had united the hopes of the borough of Brooklyn, and had been home to Wilbert Robinson and Dazzy Vance, Red Barber and Hilda Chester and the Dodger Symphony, Leo DeRocher and Pee Wee Reese and Duke Snyder, Larry McPhail and Branch Rickey and Jackie Robinson.
Baseball, and that the Brooklyn Dodgers would up and leave to Los Angeles yet, which seemed like once you go to Borneo. You know, the only time I'd seen LA was a Mickey Mouse Club would show, and Disneyland is under construction, and it looked like the Amazon. Where'd they go? And it was why here, so far away, and it was at a mountaintop they're preparing for a ballpark on a mountaintop. No, in the city next to the dry cleaner, so you could talk about it when you pick up your suit that had a mustard stain from the game before. Where's the corner bar? Where's the arguments? You know, where's the trolley that's there? Where's the subway? How do you get there? Where do they got palm trees? What's Cary Grant and Doris Day doing at a game?
So this is some Brooklyn trolley footage, and I wanted to show you this because a lot of people really, we went to San Francisco, and you can get a really good idea of the trolley system by looking at it there, but a lot of people aren't familiar with trolleys and how they operated and the problems and situations. Now you can see right here, the trolley's coming up and it's on a track. And I want to just stop it here to just show you something. So I want to stop this right here and just to show you some of the problems of the trolley. Now you see a car turning around it right here. That was an issue because a lot of times when the trolley stopped to pick up passengers, cars would obviously go around it. You also have the problem you see right here. It wasn't flush with the curb. So if you had a disability, you had to go down there with a cane or crutches. And a lot of times people with bicycles would cut through that little narrow, that little area right there. So there was issues with the trolley like this. And so in terms of buses, they come up to the curb and all that. But as you can see, the efficiency of the trolley, very few parts had to be changed out. No oil changes, no issues with so many things you think of with buses. Pollution, number one. So I just want to show you that. So here you can get a better view of what I'm talking about because it emphasizes the width. You can see the trolleys riding pretty much down the middle and how you have that big gap on the side there. And you see how the cars are riding. So there was definitely some issues with the trolley in terms of this. And look at this. See how the car's going around it like this? That was absolutely dangerous when someone was trying to get onto the trolley. And there were a lot of problems with that. So lastly, just to leave you with this, I don't know if you probably knew this or not, but Bugs Bunny was actually, his backstory is, he was born underneath Ebbets Field. So another correlation into Bugs Bunny and Ebbets Field and the trolleys. Everything connects in the circle of life in Brooklyn. So let me leave you with this little clip of Bugs Bunny and hope you enjoyed the video.
What's up, Doc? Please, officer, you gotta help me. I'm frequently led. Everybody's turning into rabbits.
What's all this about rabbits, Doc?
Big damn victory, a costly one.
saying, you know? Maybe I ought to read this.